Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite stock market duo, Robin Blaze. I'm kidding, by the way. Welcome back to Hot Trades. Here is another video. Again in this whole short video series that we've been talking about. In this video, what we will talk about is something that one of the members posted in Discord this morning. That seemed really interesting and exciting, right? And the title is 10 essential trading rules of, again, just the 10 essential rules of trading, right? So what we will do in this video is, just again, surface level stuff because we want to keep it quick, right? So we'll talk about, from number one to number, how many do we have? Number 10.
And
Um, so from number one to number 10, we'll just kind of go through, and talk about, maybe some of the, again, like surface level stuff. And then if you feel like we should do a deep dive on one of these subjects, please leave us a comment, right? So and then we can maybe again, Rob and I can really dig in and say, okay, this is this and this is that and whatnot. But again, so yeah, don't forget to leave us a comment. Enjoy the If you enjoy the content, don't forget to smash a like as well, share the link, and let's get right into it.
let's
So
get into
let's go. So Rob, take us into it with number one.
Sure. I think it's first good to important to say that we really believe in this. That's why when we saw it, it was so good because we really believe in this, and if anything, Hot Trades wants to do is to continue to teach traders. What we said in the last video, we're considered retail traders. We're considered dumb money, but we want to be smart. We want to trade like professional traders. We want you guys to think, especially think like professional traders. So number one, yeah, always be disciplined. That's part of it. Being disciplined means having rules and following those rules. So being disciplined is literally like, I mean, you know me with my stories, Blaze. Can I say a quick story? I
Yes.
have a, I have a, I had a client, a professional trader, manages millions of dollars, and the guy is so disciplined. Like you could see it in his life because when you're disciplined, there's no way for you not to be. It's like what I teach my kids. Like if you do it here, you're gonna do it everywhere. So you
Yep.
gotta be disciplined in every part of in every aspect of your life. If you're not, then you gotta work on it because this is psychological. This is you might think about trading as just like just trading money,
Mhm.
investing or whatever, and it's not. It's psychological and a lot of discipline. So the guy would have everything so like his office, everything was perfect. It was like in place. I had asked him, do you have any batteries? He had a place, literally he opened up like this closet and he had all these little cases. He
Yeah.
had A batteries, D batteries, C
Mhm.
battery, like all in different cases separated in one thing. Like he had everything like, so the guy, you could tell, is disciplined. And obviously, if he's disciplined there, he's disciplined in his trading and his,
Yep.
and that's gonna keep you focused on. That's gonna help you with the rest. So that's a good foundation.
It is.
And I believe that is on number one on purpose because
I
it's
think
a
so
great
too.
foundation to be
I,
on.
I think so too.
You're building your trading strategy on discipline. So
Exactly. Exactly. So number two is plan the trade, trade the plan, right? So I mean, this is one of those things that you hear all the time, but I don't think people follow it as much as they should, right? So again, as you guys know, we live stream quite a bit, and over we will get questions of like, what do you think I should do with this? And my initial thought is, well, maybe there wasn't a plan to trade at all, right? So whether you're swinging, you're longing, you're scalping, it really doesn't matter what you're doing in the market. There has to be some type of plan, right? That's again, like Rob said, number one takes us kind of around the circle, right? Discipline. But again, with that discipline comes your plan, right? If I'm getting into this play, this is the plan, right? This is my entry. This is my reason for getting into the play. This is what I'm gonna do if the play doesn't work, right? So because if you don't have a plan, guess what happens, right? You're gonna imagine, I think that expression, Rob, is like a deer light and the headlights. I don't know how
the
exactly that
headlights. Yep.
goes.
You'll be like a deer in the headlights. Exactly.
Exactly, right? If you don't have a plan, then you won't know what to do when things get crazy. All right. So you want to plan. So when things get crazy, you're like, okay, this was the plan. This is what I'm gonna do. Alrighty.
And this is plan the trade, but also trade the plan. So
Yeah,
stick to
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
There's a
Exactly.
stop loss. Stick to that stop loss. Stick to
Yep.
that. Don't start moving it and taking it out and trying something else, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean. You might be able to do that maybe when you're more you have a lot more experience, but you're still getting away from the plan. So stick to the like plan the trade, but also trade the plan. That's beautiful. In
Yep.
other words, stay in it. Stick to that plan. Don't just like change it up now because of you're seeing things differently. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you have to change the plan, then it didn't work out your way. You should then literally you're changing it on the fly. So
Yep.
don't change it. Let trade the plan, and then it didn't work out. You stop. You start over again. New plan, and you go back in again.
Number three, Rob. Number
Number
three.
expect losses. Oh my god. Earlier in the other video, I was gonna say that, and I didn't. We were talking about stop losses.
Yep.
And I think that one of my major issues when I was trading in the beginning was I did not like to lose. No one likes to lose, and I
No.
did not like to lose. So that's what would keep you in a trade longer, because you're like, well, at some point it's going to change. I might turn, so you're in a trade. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a stop loss. Now it's going against me, but I'm still like, I don't want to lose. So I would rather risk $100, 200, 300, 400%, 50%, 20% to win, honestly, and then end up winning maybe half of that. But then I risk so much more just because
Yep.
I did not want to lose. So most of the time, people lose more because they just don't want to lose.
Yep.
So you have to expect to lose.
Yep.
You see, if
Absolutely.
you expect that you're going to be losing every once in a while, then fine, I lost next.
Yep.
I lost next.
Yep.
But I've heard people say I lost 5 times, but then my one trade that won, it took me green. Hey, then that's the way you trade. Same thing.
Exactly.
I get 4 or 5 losses, but then you get one big loss. Guess what? Now you hit your loss of the day or of the week, and now you're not gonna be able to trade anymore. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So you didn't give yourself chance to trade more
Yep.
because you got out long. You wanted to stay in longer. So expect to lose definitely.
Yep. And if you think of expecting to lose, I think one of Warren Buffett's rule. I don't know what number one is. Number one is something about your number one rule in the market is protecting your capital. Rob, I see. I need to look this up now.
I
On the
think it
fly
was.
here.
I think it was. Yeah, go ahead. I don't
Let me
remember.
see. Let me
I
see.
kind of look.
I really want to know what this is. But I think, again, so Warren Buffett said something along the lines of, again, rule number one in the markets, right? So is to protect your monies. Rob is looking this up. He's going to tell us, right? So again, when you're getting into these positions, guys, you have to understand that you're doing your best. There's a level of risk when you take place, right? Not everything is guaranteed to work, right? If you look at some of the top analysts on Wall Street, right? If you are an analyst, that's right. 50% of the time, you're rated 4 stars, right? So these guys are like the at the very top, and they're maybe right half of the time, and they're rated 4 stars, like the best of the best. Who are you then to say, what, I want to be right all the time, right? Again, it's not about being right, it's about making monies, right? So if you get into a play and it goes against you and you stuck to the plan and you took a bit of a loss, that's okay, right? If I take this 10-cent loss because I follow this system, well, guess what? On the next play, if I do that consistently over time, I it's easier for me to make 10 cents than it is for me to stay in a play and be down $1 and make $1, right? So, I'd rather you take that 10-cent loss and then go make that 10 cents back somewhere else, especially if you have a really good system, right? So small losses are expected, small losses are okay. Take them and move on. You'd be surprised the amount of people that, again, that are holding a stock like an AMC, like a Mullen, or something that's been crashing for the longest time, right? I'm down 10%. Oh, I'm down 50%. Oh, I'm down 90%, right? What have you been doing that entire time? Right? So take those smaller losses, expect losses. You're wrong. It's okay. Move on. Go make the money back somewhere else. Alrighty. And then, so rule number four is managing your emotions, right? So it's easier said than done. When you put money behind this and it's money that you worked really hard for, it's hard to just say, like, I'm just going to treat this like a robot. But you kind of have to, right?
I
You
was
have
just
to
going to say that.
Yeah. You have to find a way, to, again, like we keep talking about systems because that's what Rob and I want to teach. We want you to trade like robots. We want you to trade a system. We want you to have
Mechanical.
a plan and follow the plan, right? So if your emotions are coming into play, it's because maybe the plan isn't in there. And again, it's easy for us to say, oh yeah, don't be emotional because this is emotional. People work hard for their money, and when you're losing your money, it's hard. But you have to find a way to follow some type of rule.
Yeah, and the way you do that is trading mechanical. There's no, I don't care what anybody tells me.
Mhm.
To me, like you can, I know people can say so many different things, but you want to manage your emotions, trade, be very mechanical, be like a robot. I'm going, if I were to create a bot and I tell the bot, buy when it breaks here, sell when it goes here. At 10% profit, sell. At 5% loss or 2% loss, stop me out. Stop loss, all that stuff. And I have that bot do that. It's just doing it. It's just if this happens, then do that. If not, then do this. So, and it's always if we're like that in our trading, it's gonna be perfect because there's no emotion behind it. Even when you're, that's why people don't like sometimes to take profits, right? Target profits, profit targets, because they're like they want to make more. They want to make more. But if you're mechanical about it, boom, you made that money. Now you repeat it again. Boom, you made it. Boom, and you keep compounding that. That's great. If you're a trader, like that's a great way to trade because that's the way the bots do. Like
Yep.
if you think about it, if a bot is doing that, a bot is not waiting, is not saying, well, I'm gonna make a little more. It's just literally doing what the rule says. The rule is take a profit here, get me out of the trade here if
Yep.
it goes against me. You know what I'm saying? And it's always doing it. And it'll repeat it and it'll repeat it and it'll repeat it and it'll repeat it. And then what you want to do is have a very good win rate, a good percentage, right? So that's the way to do it. You just become mechanical in your trading. Now, yeah, like you said, it's easier said than done. But the more you do it, it's gonna get easier. That's why some people say, okay, I lost, but move on.
Yep.
If you see professional traders, they lost, they move on. I'm
Yep.
not gonna, I'm just, but now if they're it goes back to one, two, three. If they didn't have a plan, they didn't stick to the plan, they didn't expect the loss, then guess what? It's gonna be super emotional because they weren't disciplined, they didn't
Yep.
have a plan, or they didn't stick to the plan, and now
Exactly.
since they didn't expect the loss, a small loss, they're
Yep.
like, now what do I do? You know what I mean? And the emotions get in the way, and it just screws you up. It screwed me up. I would be on a weekend. I would trade good the whole
Oh, yeah.
week, and on Friday I would screw up, Blaze.
Yep.
Friday I would screw up.
Yep.
It pissed me off, and I was like, you know
Yep.
what? Now the whole weekend I'm upset, and I'm like,
Yep.
I can't believe it that I made money the whole week, and then on Friday I blew it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's rule
And
number 6, Rob.
right, so then I would even stop. So I said, you know what? I'm going to stop trading on Fridays. I came to a point where I started stop. I started at that point. I kept doing so many different things, and that
Yep.
was one of them because of the emotions, because it would screw me up.
Exactly.
So it was like if I wasn't mechanical about it. I made my money in the week. I'm done. Thursday, I did it. I had a profit target for the week. I reached it. Then that's it. Done.
Yep. Exactly.
So
Exactly. So rule number 5, focus on trading well. This one is it's a bit vague, but that's okay, right? So I think this just kind of maybe goes back and it just reminds us that again, like the focus isn't on. I think when people come to the market, the focus is what I see this person making lots of monies. I see that person making lots of monies. I want to make lots of monies in 2 days, right? So your plan should be honestly like, can I progress? Right? Like, what have I done today that I can improve tomorrow? Right? What went wrong today that I could improve tomorrow? Right? You want to focus on just slow progressions, right? Constantly learning, constantly growing. And again, like the rule says, just focus on trading well, right? Just do your best and then learn from that and move on.
yeah, whatever you feel you're doing wrong, that's why we talk about journaling. Journal what you did wrong. Figure it out. Go back in. That's part of the discipline of a trader. They go back and they verify what they did right, what they didn't do right, and then you just try to fix it. You go in again. Okay, I'm not going to do that again. I've done it 3 times and it has not worked. So for me to get better, I have to change it up. So focus on trading well would be that. Just yeah, definitely
Yeah.
focus on. And by being mechanical and doing all the, I keep saying that it's in perfect order.
Yep.
Everything else will fall in place.
Yep. And there's this little expression, Rob, that says what gets measured gets improved, right? So, that whole journaling, right? Like if you're writing stuff down and you're measuring, right? So no jokes about this, please, and thank you, about measuring and improvements and whatnot. Um, but right, if you're writing stuff down, there's a good chance that you're gonna go back and say, wait. Every time I do this, this goes wrong. It's because you're writing it down and you're like, oh, I caught that, right? But if you're not, maybe you're making the same mistake over and over and you just don't know, right?
That's right.
So, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And then rule number 6, do not overtrade, which is what Rob mentioned earlier. Maybe,
Yeah. You want me to start?
um,
You want me to?
yes,
Oh.
yes.
So do not overtrade is self-explanatory. Like that's another thing that we do as traders, especially when you're learning, when you're first learning, is that you lose, and then because you didn't expect to lose, back to number three, or you didn't manage your emotions, you're over trading because now you want to get that money back, or you
Mhm.
want to. So that's all part of the plan, right? When you trade and you have a plan, you won't overtrade because, first of all, if you're green, you could still overtrade. If you lose, you could still overtrade. Like you could be green and then you be greedy and you want to keep going. You want to keep going. And
Mhm.
I think good traders, they come in the morning. Like I had my brother used to work in Barclays, and there's people we know in Barclays that they're traders and on the floor, and they'll be done 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning. They're done with their trades.
Mhm.
They reach the profit target that they had for the day and they're done. They
Yep.
don't try to make more. They don't try to, and even if they lost or they lost a particular amount, then they're done. That's it. We'll start over again tomorrow. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So don't overtrade is such a big thing. I know people that's called like also what they do revenge trading.
Yep.
Like they're losing and they just want to like try to get it back somehow, and it just you just lose even more. So don't overtrade.
Yeah. Two things that come to mind for me, Rob, with this one is, you don't always have to be in a trade. Like cash is a position. You do not always have to be like, oh, today I need to trade, tomorrow I need to trade. I need to trade every hour of every day,
That's
right?
right.
So that's something that comes to mind. The other thing that comes to mind is, how many times, Rob, do we see someone, someone that's doing really well the entire day, and then on trade number 20, they screw it up and ruin the entire day,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I used to
So
do that. Yeah.
exactly, right. So if you're doing well, like, and the reason I say that's interesting is because, this is the expression. The expression is, your biggest losses come after your biggest gainers,
Oh yeah.
right? So if you're consistently winning, right, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm doing well, usually what happens is people get a bit complacent, right? And they're like, you know what, I've been winning, I can crush the market, I can tie both hands behind my back, I can use my nose to press the entry and the exit, and I still make lots of monies, so do not overtrade, right? And if you're going to overtrade, well, maybe stick to the disciplines, right? Like stick to the planning and you should be okay.
Yeah.
Ready? And Rob is gonna love this one.
Yep.
Trade
Yep.
what you see, trade what you see, not what you think. Rob.
Yep. And that's basically stick to the technicals. What we say a lot in hot trades. We say it all the
Mhm.
time. When we even see news come out and the market does crazy things that nobody was expecting and all that stuff, it goes back and respects the technicals. I did a trade the other day on FOMC and I put a limit buy order all the way at the bottom at a demand zone. And what did the price do? It actually dropped down, hit my and took off. And I made like actually $1,115 in that trade, like literally in like less than a minute, because it respected the technical. So trade what you see, not what you think. I didn't just go in there and think, well, I think it's gonna go up, and I'm gonna, what you want to do is, and you, what you want to do is, even when you're managing that trade, the reason why I think a lot of traders stay, and I think this is the key, this is where I really want to get to this point, why traders stay in a trade longer and they lose more when they stay longer in a trade, or they stay in a losing trade longer. Sorry, that's the way I should have said it. It's because they're trading what they think and not what they're seeing. They're
Yep.
seeing they're seeing a tank, and they're seeing it break a major resistance area, or a major support area, they're seeing a break structure, they're seeing a lower low, and they're still like, well, but at some point it has to go back up. And I think it's going to do this because the trend has been up the whole day. So there's no way that this thing is going to drop to like, this much. And that's exactly what it does.
Yep.
So you trade what you see,
Yep.
not what you think. If it's not going the way you planned it, which you should have, then you get out, and
Yep.
that's it. Forget about it. It didn't go your way. It's not what you thought it was. Don't trade what you think. You trade what
Exactly.
you see. Trade the
Exactly.
chart. What we always say all the time.
Exactly. And we say this too, like if you're it doesn't, like, it does not matter, right? So the one thing that Rob and I have talked about this quite a bit. The company will fail you, right? Your friend's grandma that tells you to buy the stock will fail you, right? The company's CEO will fail you, right? All your expectations will fail, right? Because again, it's based on hope and nothing really that's but the technicals, right? Trading what you see, trading what is being presented to you by the chart, it should be what you should go with, right? That will lead you to success, right? Not having these expectations or hopes that I hope this happens, I hope this happens, right? Trade the technicals, right? I see support at this price, I see a curl at this price, trade that. Don't trade that. Oh, but I think it's gonna do this. But no, don't do that.
Or even what you're seeing in a tweet. I think, they just said this or they just said that. Oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. It doesn't matter. You know what? You might get a reaction out of the market, but then it's
Yep,
going to go right back down again to where it was. Why? Because it's following it. The what we always say, the market is algorithmic. It's going to go back to doing what it's supposed to do.
yep,
It's a computer, providing liquidity, looking for areas where there's liquidity and providing it to the demand. Basically, supplying the demand. You know
yep,
what I mean? So that's all it's doing, and
exactly.
exactly that's all I have to say. That's what it's doing. It's basically, it's always gonna continue to do that. So whatever you think it's gonna do, doesn't matter.
Yep. Rule number eight, which kind of ties into the last one, the trend is your friend, right? So, you hear this expression quite a lot, right? So, the trend is your friend, right? So, we've seen people try to go short in, when a stock is trending up, right? So, well, it's trending up. Maybe you should, when a stock is going up, when the trend is going up, the likelihood of it going down and going back up, it's quite high, right? If a stock is crashing, the likelihood of it going up and continuing the downtrend is very high, right? So just play with the trend. Um, I know
Yeah,
Rob. Yeah.
yeah. I love to say that in the with when I see people do that, I tell them all the time, this is probability. What is the higher probability on a trend, on an uptrend, that it's going to continue up? So you're waiting. You have that hope. You have that hope. You're seeing. You're thinking one thing, but trade what you see. You're seeing a trend, you follow that trend. Why not better wait for it to retrace and then grab it at the bottom of a retracement because you're believing in the trend. You see,
Yep.
so there's a higher probability of that trend going up. So I'd rather take a long and it go against me than take a short and it's going to go
Mhm.
against me all the time. Every time at the top, it's going to and continue higher and continue higher. So I'd
Exactly.
rather just wait for that retracement. Those are the greatest trades, actually. When on an uptrend, you're waiting for that as that moment where it retraces to that nine a little further down, and then you get back in and you write it back up again because that was your chance to get back into that trend if you didn't get in.
Yep.
So definitely, the trend is your friend. Definitely.
Absolutely. Rule number nine is a bit repetitive. It says, do not repeat your mistakes, right? So, we've kind of talked about measuring and journaling and things like that, right? So, that's where rule number nine comes in again, right? So, again, try not to repeat your mistakes, right? If you buy a stock and you diamond handed and it breaks below support, well, maybe next time don't do that, right? So, but you're going to have to find a way to measure that though and say, you know what, I see that this is a problem, right? Every time I buy a stock, because this is happening, it crashes on me, right? Every time I try to short an uptrend, it explodes in my face. Every time I try to go long, when a stock is trending down, it keeps crashing, right? So, again, writing stuff down, journaling, that would really help with like not repeating your mistakes, righty?
And I think that's what beginning traders always do.
Yep.
When you're starting, you always repeat the darn mistakes.
Yep.
And then that's why you have to be more mechanical. You made them, you wrote it down. I'm not like I showed once in our video. I wrote down so many things that I did that I'm not supposed to do, and I would read it every time.
Mhm.
Don't do this, Robert. Don't buy at the top when the candles on the exploding up. Don't go long. Wait for that retracement to then go back in or whatever. Like don't stay in longer. Like so many mistakes that we continue to do. I
Mhm.
think that you stop, if you really find those mistakes that you keep repeating, you just that alone is going to help you become a better trader. Just that alone, because
Mhm.
you're. It's almost like if you made the mistake and it's not working, it's almost like do the opposite and it's going to work,
Yep.
because what you are repeating is the same darn mistake. So that means if you keep doing that same thing, it's not working. So do the opposite, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe what you're looking at is just not correct. So definitely
Absolutely.
have realistic expectations.
Yes. Rule
Yeah.
number 10, having those expectations. You know, and this is where, I think we kind of, when we talked about rule number 2, we kind of touched on rule number 10. Is I think people come into the market because there's a reason why most people come into the market, Rob, is because they've seen someone make a lot of money, or they think they can make a lot of money.
Good.
They can come in on day one and print a lot of money, right? It doesn't work like that, does it? Right? So if you think about, trading is potentially one of the hardest thing you can do, because it will test you on every single level, right? Your emotions, discipline, right? It will test you very much, right? So, if you think of like any career in life, right? So it doesn't matter what you do, right? You could be I don't know, an astronaut, a doctor, or a janitor, or like a chicken maker or something like that, right? So it doesn't matter what you do. You have to go through a process of education and learning, right? So when you come into the market initially, your focus should be that education, right? So potentially low expectations, because you don't quite know what you're doing, right? And then you can incrementally, just again, like, increase that as time goes on, because you're learning more, right? So again, just have realistic expectations. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. This is not a race. This is a marathon. It
Yep.
takes time. It's a long race. This is the hardest thing that I've ever done. Honestly,
Yep.
I'm an engineer, and this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Please,
Yep.
honestly,
Yep.
like you said, it tests me in so many ways to the point I almost gave up. It tested me psychologically, emotionally, everything. It almost broke me,
Yep.
and it was like, but definitely, it's like have realistic. You're not gonna be a millionaire overnight. It's gonna take time. It's still taking us a lot of time, because you also gotta, there's people that, well, they were born with a silver spoon. They might have a 30, 40, 50, $1,000 to start with, but not everybody does. Most traders don't. Most retail traders don't. They start
Mhm.
at the bottom, and they gotta, little by little. And those
Mhm.
that sometimes lose a lot as well. They lose all that money. So
Yep.
yeah,
Exactly.
have realistic expectations. Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is
So there you have it, guys. These are your 10 essential rules of trading. Again, if you feel like there's one that we should really focus on the next video, maybe leave us a comment. Obviously,
Yeah, we
again,
can
don't.
give ideas. Yeah, we can give ideas. They can, all right, like focusing on trading. I mean, like managing your emotions or whatever. And we can give you different tips, that you can use. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And again, don't forget to smash a like. Alrighty, share this video. You might have a friend that is struggling with one of these, right? Send them the video. And yeah, we will catch you on the next one. Alrighty, Rob. It's been fun.
take care.
Peace.
Yes, it has.